Maybe. There we are.
Oh,
We're
we are live.
live. Yay. Woohoo. I am Liz Trotter and I'm with Cleaning Profit Builders. And I have a co host, Olu, today.
What's
And
going on, guys?
how excited are we to have Josh Latimer?
Very, very excited.
Yeah, we did not think we would ever be able to get him on this show. We're so excited. So, Josh, tell us why you decided to go ahead and come on our little tiny show. You are such a big, famous, fancy guy. Why did you decide to do this?
Well, first of all, that is not true at all. That's all
Yes,
fake
it
news.
is.
That's fake news.
No,
Fake
I'm not a big
news.
fancy guy.
totally true.
First of all,
No,
I
I think
really
it's
like
true.
you, Liz. I like you. I respect you. I've met you. I think you're super smart. And the cleaning industry is where I came out of. You know, everything I have is because I decided to buy a squeegee 20 years ago. Had I not made that choice, the whole direction of my life changes. I think a lot of small business owners don't realize that. Your cleaning business doesn't have to be the end all be all, right? It might be your training wheels business. It might be a stepping stone to establish skill sets and mindsets and things that you need a network to do other things. And maybe not. But my mom always told me growing up, Josh, don't despise small beginnings. So, you know, if I can add value and help and I can make it work, I'm all in every time. So I'm here.
Oh, that's nice. Boy, I feel like you just dropped a whole bunch of nuggets on us,
Bombs.
right? You felt that?
I expect more of that. I mean, he came in with a do hard things hat, and I already know I like you. I'm like, I already know your mindset just by that right there. Do hard things.
I
And
couldn't
then
even
we
Right?
see
got
that it says
conquer.
that.
You know, you got to conquer.
Yeah.
Got a
Nice.
little
I
bit of
love it.
everything
I
going on
love it.
there. All right. So one question that I have been dying to ask before we get into all things marketing. Yeah, Robin, right? That's exactly how I felt. I'm like, what? We've only been on like 1 minute. How did he drop all this good stuff already? All right. So here's my question. How many businesses have you owned in your lifetime?
Oh gosh.
It
That
is a
puts me
lot.
on the spot.
I
Well,
know.
the reason that's hard, it's going to be over 10 shortly because we moved to Texas about a year and a half ago, and we came down here to do a whole bunch of top secret things.
Oh, okay.
We're in the process of doing all kinds of stuff that I haven't really announced, but we bought a commercial property down here. Brandon Bond and I and Debbie Sardone and another guy, we partnered and bought this big, huge commercial property, and
Huge. I went and saw it.
so
It's nice.
that's technically a business, even though it's just a holding company. But then we have War Plan Studios is one of the newest ones. So it's a video production service for service companies, and we make like viral ads and different types of high quality videos for service companies.
Okay.
But we also have War Plan Photography for entrepreneurs in the mix down here. War Plan Marketing. We have War Plan Legal. You know, we're actually
Oh,
talking about opening a law firm. And so I'm not doing all these. I'm
yeah.
facilitating. We're building a portfolio of these war plan themed things because my family and I created a product last year called the Kid War Plan. And it's a journal for kids. It teaches them entrepreneurship and mindset and leadership. And it's this epic thing. And our whole family's involved with it. And so we've really ran with this idea of war plan. So if you count the new stuff that we're doing and everything else, it's north of 10. I've exited 4, north of 10.
Yeah, there are
Nice.
a lot of them. I know. So I did not know about all of the war plan stuff.
I know
Olu did.
nobody does. This is like breaking news.
No, Olu did. Because he said,
Oh, he
I
did.
he said, who is going to be our guest? And I said, Josh Latimer. And he said, what? War plan, Josh? And I said, well, no, Josh Latimer. And I said, how do you
So
not
I'm
know
like,
who
maybe I
Josh
have the wrong
Latimer is?
Josh. Let me go look.
What
So
are you talking about, the Kid War Plan?
the Kid War Plan. Yes. By the way, in less than 60 minutes, you'll have a purchase for the Kid War Plan. I seen that and I'm like, oh my goodness, like the mindset, developing that from a young age is it's so critical. I mean, for life and just for entrepreneurship. Talk about that a little bit more.
Well, I think
Before
it's
you
our
talk about it,
sure.
Oh,
give me the web address so that I can copy it and I can put it in
Sure,
the
sure.
notes.
yes.
And
So
then
for this particular project, it's just kidwarplan.com.
okay,
Kidwarplan.com.
okay.
And my wife and I, being that we have 5 kids and we started with nothing, living in a trailer park, living on love, like we've
Mm,
experienced firsthand. I mean, and by the way, I've been bankrupt. I've had cars repossessed. I've had all the bad things happen that happen to people that are broke and don't know how to do stuff. Okay. So massive compassion. But, now more than ever, I think we have to give our kids an unfair advantage. The world's different. And even when I grew up, the world is changing so fast. There's so much deception, kind of the enemy of young people, in my opinion, is this acronym my wife and I coined called SMOG, which is schools, the media, other people's opinions, and big government. And so there's warfare going on for the hearts and minds of our kids. And so entrepreneurship, see, people miss the fact that when you teach a kid about entrepreneurship, it has very little to do with making them focus on money and stuff, right? So what it has more to do with is teaching them how to be a producer, not a consumer, teaching them how to add value. You see, money is the natural byproduct of value creation, and just helping them understand these things. Most college kids don't understand these things. And kids, even little kids that are 6, 7, 8 years old, can understand what's the difference between persuasion and manipulation. What's the difference between money and currency? What's the difference between debt and equity? Like, they're not that complicated. I don't think we give kids enough credit for being able to handle what some people would say complex ideas. But what's so cool is with the way the economy is and the way the landscape has changed with like college and stuff, college is becoming more and more obsolete because information has been decentralized. If you think about like cryptocurrency is all the craze, everybody talks about that. I'm not a big crypto guy, but there's this movement of decentralization with all these different industries, and education has been decentralized. So what's going to happen when the 16-year-old who knows how to write code and doesn't go to college, that person's still getting a job? There's interviews of Elon Musk talking about how college, like maybe not, it doesn't matter. If you have an engineering degree or you want to be a doctor, maybe you need that. But I think young people that know how to serve others, find a market, learn how to persuade and sell and make offers, and all of those things is like a superpower. And, I think in the next 3 to 5 years, there'll be more millionaires made that are less than 18 years old than any other time period in human history.
Wow. That's big.
Yeah.
It's big. I mean, I didn't mean to drop a whole nuke on you there, but
I love it.
Even if they don't start a business, isn't it valuable that they know what self-talk is? Isn't it valuable that they understand what servant leadership is? Isn't it valuable that they know that like discipline and having self-confidence? I mean, there's an epidemic with confidence in kids, bullying in schools, things like this. My 6-year-old, the first word in the Kid War Plan is the word courage. And each day it teaches kids one principle, one idea, one word. And courage is super simple, but our definition for courage is doing what you know is right, even while you feel afraid. And she's only 6. And I sit her down. I'm like, what is courage, Finley? And she tells me, and I say, what does it mean to do it even though you're afraid, right? Because being brave doesn't mean that you're not afraid. If you have a business and you have a pulse and you're a normal human, you probably have been very afraid financially and emotionally, and customers are mean to you and everything, right? It's doing it anyway that makes you brave. If you don't have fear, something's wrong with your brain. But moving forward into the darkness, in the uncertainty, and doing it anyway, that's epic. And, our family wants to do epic things. We want to help other families that think like that do the same thing.
So what was her answer?
What?
So you asked her, you said, Finley, what does it mean?
Well, she memorizes the definition. So I'll say, Finley, what is courage? She says, doing what you know is right, even while you feel afraid.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about that. Right. Like, she just lost a tooth last week. So we had a string tied around her tooth for like 7 hours because she was so terrified to pull it out. Right. And her tooth was hanging on. Like, I felt bad for her actual tooth because it was like sideways, like, take me out of my misery. I mean, it was like not even attached. I'm like, Finley, you're not even going to feel it. And we're talking about courage. Right. And it's just so cool teaching these ideas when kids are young. There's a lot of adults that don't have a growth mindset. They don't understand that there's more than enough for everyone to have more than enough. Like, that's true. It's economically true if you understand how money works and stuff. And my kids can get a job if they want, but it's our intention to make sure they're fully equipped to be job creators, movement makers, world changers if they want to be, and at least make sure they know that stuff.
Absolutely. Now, I know we're here for marketing
Sure.
And I
We can
want
talk
to
about
get
anything we want.
Everything
yeah,
is marketing.
I know a lot of the people listening are parents, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is just so major. It really starts with the youth and could change the whole family's trajectory. Now, with Kid War Plan, how do you get a child to buy into that? And I know it's easier to get in a child's buy-in than an adult, but how do you encourage them? How do you facilitate that as a parent to keep them going?
I love this question. I'm so pumped that you asked this. So when we made this, I'll teach it from two sides,
Mhm.
because on the business side too, it's been really interesting because the Kid War Plan isn't like my business. I don't like need it to sell a million things so that I make money, but it is making money. We sold over $400,000 worth of these books already, and it would be over $1 million, but we run out of them. The reason we run out of them is because they're handmade. The reason they're handmade is really to your question, right? How do you get a kid to buy in? So the first thing that's weird about this journal, if you want to call it that, it's more of a system than a journal, is that it's expensive. It's $97 to buy this book. Well, who would buy a $97 journal for a kid? Well, a lot of people wouldn't, but that was entirely intentional. And so years ago, when I sat down with my wife and my kids, we're like, how do we make something that's transformational? As a family from the beginning, we talked about this. And the first thing we decided was it had to be absolutely legendary in terms of the quality. My kids said, Dad, I want it to feel like it came out of the Lord of the Rings movie.
Yeah.
So it's made out of real buffalo leather. All the paper in the journal is handmade using a 1,000-year-old process from India.
But I don't know how it's
All the
gorgeous.
printing, like the printing on the pages is done with metal plates that they like stamp onto the pages. They're hand stitched together. There's an embossed logo that says Kid War Plan on the cover. It's hammered in by a human being. They're all different. Every book is a little different color. The emboss is a little off. The pages are a little crooked, but that's why it's a beautiful thing. So that's the first thing that we thought would increase engagement, because if I just printed off a $2 book from China, the kid throws it under their bed, there's not any transformation, right? The second, so making it expensive is an important part of why it works, because the parent, when they give it to the kid, the first thing they do, and they open to the first page, is there's like this epic proclamation. I just have one sitting on my desk, not even for this interview here, but I just have them everywhere in my house. And it says, "Dear Kid Warrior." And by the way, the parent and the kid both sign this when they get it. So when they deliver it to the kid, it's like, "Hey, Billy, little Billy, I just want you to know, I think you're super valuable and you're worth investing in. So I went ahead and I made an investment in you. I spent a significant amount of money to make your brain so smart that you're going to know stuff that even college kids don't know. It's going to be fun. You're going to be rewarded. We're going to have the time of our life. Let's read this together so we can get started. Dear Kid Warrior, did you know that you possess the master key to your future truth? The Kid War Plan is a hazardous journey, is not for the light of heart, but the rewards are magnificent. This is a peculiar kind of book because when used properly, it can change your life forever. The Kid War Plan was carefully designed for kids who are rebellious defenders of truth, wisdom seekers, relentless and honor-filled fire questers, independent and epic future world changers. And it goes on, this epic stuff. Then they sign it. And then every 10 days, it's 90 total days, but every 10 set days, they get a reward from their parent. And the parent gets to decide what that is. But you tell your kid up front. And then basically you just clap and cheer for your child. That's your job. Clap and cheer. If they miss a day, it doesn't matter, right? But you're constantly re-engaging them to clap and cheer. And when they get through, there's a review and they get a reward. In addition to that, our 14-year-old made 90 videos to go along with this book, which took him 5 months, 8 hours a day. Okay.
Wow.
I made him do it himself because we do hard things, right? And he wanted to do it. And I said, I'll pay you a royalty for every book sold, but you have to create a video series that goes with it and it can't be this boring adult being like, hey kid, let me teach you this thing you don't want to learn. Right. So it's him and they're fun and there's like cuts and it's like a YouTube style thing. And he's teaching them about courage. And it's like a 3-minute video. Well, there's 90 of those that go with the book. And so it's kind of this whole system, and that's the psychology behind it and why it's in all 50 states and 9 countries already. And we're getting a lot of really insane feedback from people.
I love it. I love it.
And I have to say that you said twice that it was really expensive. But when I saw the book and I found out it was only $97, I was like, what? This is freaking amazing. How is this only $97?
Well, I wanted to make them. They're made in India. And I tried for almost a year to find a way to make them here, because I wanted to make them here, but it was like $600 a book to make them here. And even at $97, we don't make very much money on the books, but that's not the point. The point is to just like get them out there and make sure we're not losing money on it. And we're able to do it at that price. But, it weeds out a lot of people. Parents will buy their kids a $60 video game and not even think about it. Or $100 Nikes. We just bought my son shoes. They're like $130 for a pair of shoes, right? But something that could plant the seeds that could, grow into some powerful force in the future.
And that's the thing.
It's priceless.
If what you have, if what's in the journal was just typed up on the computer on a Word doc, it's still worth more than $97. And then it's gorgeous on top of that. I'm like,
we're super excited. We're going next week to Arizona. So I don't know if you've heard of ClickFunnels.
Yeah.
Have you heard of ClickFunnels?
Yeah, of course.
So the guy that started ClickFunnels, Russell Brunson, he bought 1,100 of these.
Oh, wow.
Okay, to give away because there's a special event coming up, and it was a really big deal because I know Russell, but I would never go to him and try to leverage that and be like, hey, help us sell our thing. I just wouldn't do that. But he just saw it. He saw one of our Facebook ads, and he sent me a message on Voxer and was like, are you freaking kidding me? And he freaked out. But he's a hyper big thinking entrepreneur guy, right? And we want to get hundreds of thousands of these out if possible. And actually, I would love to make it free or find a way to get it to people that can't afford it. Some people want it. They just really don't have the $97. So I'm currently working on some options for those people too, and digital versions and other stuff. But it's been really fun. But
Josh, I have an idea for you real quick.
Oh, okay.
One thing that you could do is, how that second book is only because I'm buying it right now, right?
Okay.
You beat me to it?
I like to engage here. The second book is only, was it 67 or 69?
Yep, 67.
Yeah, 67. So you could ask me if I wanted to buy a third book for $67 that's donated.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That's actually
a really good idea.
Or even a second book that I would donate, because I'm so hyped up to buy this journal that I'm like, absolutely. I saw the second one. I'm like, who am I going to give it to? Because of course I'm buying it. It's too great of a deal. So who am I going to give it to? Who am I going to give it to? And right as I was thinking, who am I going to give it to? You said, we're trying to figure out a way to get these into somebody's hand. Click.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we also have a huge pile of them, probably 10 or 15% of them have a page upside down in it, or the printing is so crooked. And so we don't try to ship those out. They're perfectly fine, but they're scratch and dent ones. But that's part of the downside of having them actually handmade. But we're accumulating all these, and we'll be able to use those to go into low income or something. I mean, we'll figure out something to do with it.
I don't know. I think
that's
love that.
Literally.
Grandbaby would love that. Look at Grammy. This page is upside down. I think she would be like, "This is amazing." She's never seen a book like that. You don't see books like that.
Yeah, it's been crazy, and our kids ship them out. We it's been hard because when we had inventory and I was running ads hard, we were doing just crazy numbers per day. I mean, multi six figures in 4 weeks, boom, 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 and they're coming in. And then my kids have an assembly line, and our 4-year-old's putting in the moisture packet with the thing. And then Finley puts in we put a do hard things sticker in every order that goes out. And they're doing all this stuff and shipping it, but it's teaching them all these skills. And actually, sometimes it's frustrating because they don't want to do it. Right. And so then we get to talk about that. Right. But they're earning. Well, because it's oh man, we got a lot of orders. It's almost at first it's yay, and then they're oh my god, no, But it's been a true family project from the beginning. And the last couple of years when I've been quiet on social media, mainly I've just been raising my kids, giving them TED Talks every day, my own version of them, trying to pour into them, and it's paying off. Our oldest son started his own business. He has his own Stripe account. He has customers. He does podcast editing and video editing. Our second son is flipping things on eBay, which is a really good thing for young people to do. Just as a business idea, you help them go to Goodwill or flea markets, and there's apps where you can look up what stuff sells for, and you pay it for $5 and sell it for $25. Wow. So he's doing that. And then our youngest son is learning how to build funnels. right now. And
Sick.
he's already built funnels. He's just kind of refining it before I allow him to like take money. He's been offered money, but I'm like, no, you're not ready yet. It's highly technical. You can really screw stuff up. So we got to make sure he knows everything, but
Wow.
it's great.
By the time, go ahead, Liz.
No, please.
By the time your children get into like the marketplace, they are literally 20 years ahead of anyone their age that has not had that upbringing. I don't know if you're familiar with the Polgar sisters and that experiment.
No.
So this I don't forget what he was, the psychologist. He believed that genius wasn't something that somebody was born with, but it was something that could be learned, and it could be learned by anyone. So he sends out this ad to different women that he qualified and said, hey, do you want to make genius children? Basically, that's the short of it, right? You want to make genius children. So a teacher responds and she's like, yeah, I want to make some genius children. So they decide the discipline of what they're going to teach their children. And they decided on chess. The first daughter was a master chess player, and she was playing master chess players at the age of, I believe it was 12 years old. I'm probably wrong on the age, but it was the youngest one who was the true master. At 4 years old, he used to catch her playing with the chess pieces, and he's like, leave them alone. And she'd say, they won't leave me alone, Daddy. And it's the same thing that Venus and Serena Williams' father did. It started at such a young age that was their discipline. So they weren't competing with people that started playing casually. They did this every day. And that's what you're doing right now with your children. And probably the most important field, in my opinion, right? Learning how to work with people and learning how to be a creator and not a consumer. That's big. That's big.
So big. Learn how to talk to adults. You know, I don't know if you've seen like a 15-year-old talk on a phone. Like they don't know how to do it. They just like sit it down and walk away, and they didn't say goodbye. Yeah. But you know, shaking a hand, looking in the eyes, how to present something with confidence. We have a lot of family systems. Like we have our kids debate each other for fun, and I pick topics like silly things, like who would win in a fight, you know, a falcon or a dolphin or something ridiculous. But then we'll do other ones like with social issues, right? And I'll make them choose opposing sides so that they understand the opposing argument. And it's really fun, and it teaches them to be articulate and how to talk. And it's simple though. And it's not like some authoritarian. I'm a goofball. My wife has a fog machine in our living room and a disco ball. Okay. Trust me, we have fun. But there's no reason not to have some of these types of things in place, because kids want to do extraordinary things. I just read an article about a 14-year-old girl who circumnavigated the globe in a sailboat by herself when she was 14. I read another story about a 12-year-old named Calvin Graham who lied about his age to get into the United States military and somehow made it through. It got on a battleship, went to World War II, got wounded, got a Purple Heart. He was 12 years old. So is that good? No, I don't want 12-year-olds to go to war, but you got to understand the word teenager is a modern construct. It's only about 100 years old. And if you go back into the 1800s or before, when you're 12, you're the man of the house, right? You're like taking care of your family when dad goes to town to do whatever. And so kids, it's not about putting adult weight and burden on them, but it's about getting out of their way a little bit. I think we put brakes on our kids unnecessarily. And that's why you have 30-year-olds living in their mom's basement trying to figure out what they want to do when they grow up. And it's not helpful for anybody. So my kids want to pay cash for a house when they're 18. They want my one son wants to make $1 million this year. And this is a really interesting lesson. So is he going to make $1 million this year? No, he's not going to make $1 million this year. Did I tell him that he's not going to make $1 million this year? Absolutely not. Did I even let the look on my face change when he told me that was his goal? Absolutely not. Why would I do that? You know, kids are born believing. Kids are born thinking big. We suck it out of them. As a society, you know, we beat it out of people. So you don't have to teach people to be pessimistic, they don't come, it's not innate to us. We come out optimistic, thinking big, wanting to do big, crazy things. You know, every little kid wants to be an astronaut or do some impossible thing. So when he told me he wanted to make $1 million, I said, that's amazing. I want you to, let's reverse engineer that. What does that look like? What needs to be true for that to happen for you? What are we going to sell? Who are we going to serve? What are the economics on it? And so he's working out a plan and like talking with me. And so slowly he's coming to the conclusion, like, all right, well, maybe like $10,000 I can make, you know? And I'm like, that's cool. That's a perfect first step, you know? But I'm not going to tell him he can't do it, because that's ridiculous. And I don't believe that.
And actually, the truth is, you don't know that he can't.
Exactly.
You don't know that. So
no, I know teenagers that have. One of the guys speaking at this event next week that we're going to speak at is a kid named Caleb Maddox. You've probably seen his ad somewhere, but I don't even know how much he's made. He made probably close to 10 million by the time he was 18 years old.
Nice.
Speaking and selling. He wrote like 13 books starting when he was like 10 until he was, it's really incredible what he's done. But yeah, business owners can learn a lot from kids. As I'm a business coach too, or I have been for a long time. And the number one reason that they get stuck and they struggle is not a tactic or a system or a missing Word doc or some sort of tactical thing like use the color red instead of the color blue. It's all mindset stuff. It's false beliefs around money. It has to do with shame. It's feeling bad for succeeding. A lot of business owners, especially in cleaning, they're surrounded by people that think really small. And the moment they start to like want to go lease a new car or go on a vacation, but maybe their family members can't take vacations, people start clawing and digging at them and pulling them down and making comments. And Uncle Larry at Thanksgiving has a bunch of ideas for your business, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. And it becomes more and more uncomfortable the more you achieve, because you can't like share your wins with people. One of my favorite quotes is be very cautious of people that don't clap and cheer when you win. Start taking inventory of that.
Yeah, that's really good. We have quite a few people that we talk with and we work with, and some of the biggest mindset issues that they have to get over is this idea that if I'm not actively working in my business, I'm a bad person. I'm part of the 1%. I'm taking advantage. I'm, making my whatever, I can't even remember all the stuff, making my fortunes off the back of other people's, all of this just head trash that.
Well, it's a false belief. It's a misunderstanding of how it works. So I can break down. You want me to drop some bombs?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So one of the people I look up to more than anybody in terms of like for as a mentor to me, who's become a friend, is a guy named Myron Golden. Okay. Everybody needs to go to YouTube and watch every single video Myron Golden's ever made.
I'm writing it down.
I want to say he's maybe around late 50s, or maybe he's 60. He's a black guy from Florida. He was born in a segregated hospital. Because he was in a segregated hospital, he got polio. These hospitals had all the crappy equipment. They didn't have the right stuff. It was like second rate. And he grew up so poor that poor people felt sorry for him. That's what he always says. But he was a garbage man. And he has a book called From the Trash Man to the Cash Man. Myron today is like, when I'm around this man, I like grab onto his leg and I don't let go. And I listen to every single thing he says. He's like one of the most intelligent, successful people I know. And I'm lucky that he's a friend. But Myron has every excuse to like feel bad for himself, to be a victim, to think the life screwed him over, right? He was married as a trash man making like $6 an hour, right? He started trying to sell insurance, and he went 18 months before he made one single sale, and he never gave up. Another example of a business hero of mine is a guy named Peter J. Daniels. And there's not as much content out there for him. He's an Australian billionaire, but he couldn't even read until he was 25. He was an illiterate bricklayer. And then he started reading by reading the dictionary. He went to a Billy Graham crusade, and he heard that God loved him, had a plan for his life. And the guy at the crusade said, "You're a child of God." And so he took it literally and said, "I'm a son of the king." And his mind switched. He learned to read. He started a business. Then he failed his business. Then he started another one, and he failed that business. Then he started another one, and he failed that business. 3 times in a row, his wife begged him, "Get a job for the love of God, please." He said no. And he built an empire, international real estate. His family has their own gold bullion mint for his family.
What's his name again?
Okay. Peter J. Daniels. Use the J because Peter Daniels is such a common sounding name. These people are just epic, right? And going back to what I was going to originally say was Myron Golden taught me this concept called the 4 levels of value. And I don't know if this will work on here, but I'm going to try something real quick. Because this is unbelievable. This will help reframe the way people think about growing their business on the backs of other people's labor. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me if this works. Can you see this?
Yes. Grid.
All right. So the lowest level of value is called implementation. Let me see What am I going to write so you can see? I'm just going to put an I for implementation.
Mhm.
Okay. Implementers are the people that get paid the least amount of money out of all the levels. There's 4 levels of value. This is the lowest. So we'll call it the 4th level. Now, if you're the one digging the ditch, cleaning the carpet, mopping the thing, if you're the cleaning, you're mowing the lawn, if you're doing the thing, you're implementing. And the problem with implementing is that there's only one resource you can use to make money, and that is your muscles. Your muscles. That's it. If it's not your muscles, there ain't no money getting made, right? So here's the deal, though. People get mad that this is true. But it doesn't matter if you're mad that it's true. It still is true. Imagine being mad that 2 + 2 = 4. If you look in every language, every continent, it doesn't matter what nation, what economic system, the people that dig the ditches get paid less than the people that do brain surgery, right?
Right.
But you got to understand, even the brain surgeon is still an implementer. So what do we do? Well, if you want to make more money and you want to be an implementer, the only thing you can do to make more money is either work more hours or get a more higher paid skill set that you can do. So if you're cleaning houses and you can make 30, 40, 50 bucks an hour, that's it. But if you're a jet engine mechanic, maybe you make 250,000 a year. But either way, you're trading your time for money, and there's a ceiling on the income you can make. Is that clear so far?
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect.
The 3rd level is called unifiers. Unifiers are managers. These are the professional cat herders. In fact, all the business owners that have employees, they're already vibing. They're like, oh yeah, I'm a professional cat herder, right? So they get paid more than implementers, right? Like a middle manager at a company makes more than the people underneath him. Is it fair that the McDonald's manager makes more? Maybe not. I don't know. But it doesn't matter if it's fair, because this is the principle of how it just works. This is how economics work. The unifier of the people makes more than the people doing the thing, right? But you're still using your muscles, and you still have a ceiling on your income. Where things get interesting is when you move into this level of value, which is called communication. So again, you have implementation, unification, and then communication. Now, communication, you can make 7+ figures in personal income if you learn this skill, which is why it's a big emphasis for me with my kids. How do you become articulate? How do you become witty? How do you become quick? How do you learn how to alliterate your words? How do you use tonality and voice emphasis and pacing and mirroring and all these things? Like, because it's a superpower. There's a reason actors get paid millions of dollars to be in a movie. They can move people with their words. They can move nations, the right speech. It can move the hearts of people, right? This is when you become a massive influence, even if it's in a small way inside your company. If you have a cleaning company and you get better at communication, you're going to get better performance from your team. You're going to inspire and motivate people in ways you could never imagine, right? But the muscle you're using to make money with this is your mouth. So this will be my mouth. It's a horrible drawing of a mouth, but we're going to go with it. And then the highest form of value creation is imagination. These are your Walt Disney type people, Elon Musk type people. And if you think about it, these people, all they have in their organization is a whole bunch of communicators, unifiers, and implementers. And so when you say that you're riding on the back of an implementer, there's 2 choices you can make. You can just choose to permanently be an implementer, thinking that you're some sort of valiant hero. Or you can up-level your mindset, skill sets, and your network and move up the value of creation ladder here and create jobs in the process. How do you love jobs but hate job creators? How is it that people hate it when people are successful, but then they're also mad that there's not enough jobs? When you hire employees, you are giving them a gift. You know why? Because they don't know the stuff that we're talking about right now. And they might someday, but they don't right now. And you're giving them a platform. And now that you're learning this from me, why don't you teach this to them? Why don't you be a part of their life and invest in them? If you think you're using people for their labor, I would argue that either you're using that as an excuse to cover your own fear for growing. There's just probably a 90% chance that it's that. Or there's something broken in your head and you don't understand how it works, because you are not hurting or using anybody to give them a voluntary job position where you pay them for their time and then happily let them leave for a better opportunity and use someone else. So I'll get off my rant there, but
that wasn't a rant. That was class. I am in class today.
Me too.
Love it.
And we are going to be using this, aren't we, Olo?
Absolutely.
We're all ready.
This is amazing.
That's golden. I love that. It's so true. And I think that a lot of times people get stuck in this idea of being afraid of what other people think, and, you know, living their lives for other people,
That's the number one deathbed regret, by the way.
Yeah.
Living your life based on expectation of others is the number one deathbed regret.
Yeah, I've heard that multiple times. It seems so, you don't have to hear it to know that it is true. You can feel it in your bones that makes perfect sense.
Well, it's hard to be a leader. It's hard to stand out. You know, you got it. In a sea of 5'10" people, you only got to be 5'11" for people to notice. And they start making comments and things start happening with Uncle Larry at Thanksgiving or people on the internet. But you got to make a decision. You got to ask yourself a question. You know, is this it for you? Is this really it? Did you really max out? Really? Do you think that? Do you think you were made for more? A lot of people, you got to understand, the people that I associate with now, my friends group, my inner circle, the people I want and crave to be around, these people are not normal. They think really big. It doesn't mean that, you know, they're going to hit all of their goals, but they just think differently. But I'll tell you what I notice about them is that every single one of them has a sense of destiny about them. They walk with a different level of certainty than the average person. And they all started from different spots. Like Myron, he was the trash man. He was the polio segregated hospital guy. Now he drives a Rolls Royce and he's going to make $25 million this year. So probably in his net actual personal income, by the way. So what happened in the middle there? They make a choice. You make a choice to level up. The reason we have this hat that says "Do Hard Things," we also have it on shirts. We have it on stickers, on canvases. It's on our laptops. It's on the background of our phones. Our kids I have a onesie for a baby that says "Do Hard Things" on it. Okay. Is because everything that you were destined for, everything you could ever want, is just on the other side of hard things. And I don't think you should be a hardologist. Everything shouldn't be hard forever. But if you're not willing to just get a little dirty, nothing's going to change. If nothing changes, nothing changes. You got to go for it. Stop apologizing for wanting more.
Absolutely.
You know, one of my quotes is that when opportunity knocks, it comes dressed in workman's clothing.
Yeah, it looks very surprisingly similar to work.
A lot like work, right?
Like wearing overalls. Is that what it's like?
Absolutely, yeah. Dressed in overalls, is that workman's clothing?
Something I can't remember. Like that.
Same idea, right?
So good.
And I always thought, yes, that is so true. But the other part of that I don't think people talk about is when you start doing the thing that is so hard, it's not hard anymore.
Yeah. It's not as scary as you thought it was, is it?
No, it's nowhere near. And
the same thing with bullies. When you're a kid and you're so scared to get punched in the face. I mean, it's terrifying to get punched in the face. But it's not that big of a deal. And I know that's probably not a popular one, but what I'm saying is if you are willing to get punched by the bully, then you're not scared of the bully anymore, right? Or if you're willing to swing back at the bully. If you sit there and get victimized and beat your whole life, it's always going to be so scary. But a lot of people reach a point where they get so fed up that they decide, you know what, screw it, I'm going for it. That's what happened to me. We were broke. We lived in a trailer park. I was a pizza delivery driver, and I was in my early 20s, and I got fed up. What happened was I was sitting in a parking lot. My wife called me crying from the grocery store, and her debit card was declined, and she was trying to buy groceries. And she had like $200 of groceries, and there's a line behind her. She's humiliated. She's crying. She calls me crying, like, I'm so embarrassed, right? That sent like a lightning bolt through my soul. And so that was the day that I said, because here's another truth, an unpopular truth. Most of us already know what we should be doing, but we're just not doing it. Yeah. Okay. I had a bodybuilder tell me that. I have a dad bod going on over here with my 5 kids, and I was sitting next to a guy.
I heard it's in.
What?
I heard dad bods are in, all right?
Yeah, well, to my wife they are, because she can't keep her hands off me. I'm just saying. But anyway, so I'm sitting next to this guy who looks like Thor. His name's Alex Hormozy, another incredible business mind to listen to. And I asked him, hey, man, you got any workout tips for me? And he turns to me and he goes, Josh, do you really need me to tell you, or do you already know, but you're just not doing it? Right. And so it was like this loving, firm, backhand. But he was right. I was eating a waffle. He was eating a vegan omelet. Okay. there's a little discount. I'm pouring syrup on my waffle. Like, hey man, you got any workout tips for me? Business owners are coming on to live streams trying to learn the next little nugget, but they haven't done the 16 things that they know have to be in place for them to get to the next level.
Absolutely.
And sometimes learning is a sophisticated form of procrastination. Most of the time, people don't need more education. We need more implementation. And, it's just, it's a hard truth, but it's actually empowering, because you don't need the secret magic unicorn fairy dust. Like, do the hard thing right now. You can have it over by the morning. Like click off this and just go do it right now. And then send a message on this tomorrow that you did it. Submit the report, submit that big bid, post your job ad, right? Fire the person you should have fired. Make it happen. Get it done. Money loves speed. And so when everything takes too long, you can never get any momentum. An airplane uses a disproportionate amount of fuel to get 1 foot off the ground. And once it's in the jet stream cruising, baby, it's different. But you got to have a lot of effort to get that thing 1 inch off the ground. And so you got to be moving and have speed. And that's why, I don't know, I'm just going on and on. You got me fired up now.
No, I love it. I love it.
I'm writing a presentation right now for an event that I'm doing. It's called Stop Educating, Start Executing, because we also find people that are like constantly in this, I need to know more. I need to learn more. I need one more class, one more. No, you don't. You already have
I'll give you a marketing tip on that.
All right.
So we need to rename it. Okay. So when you're naming presentations or any kind of information, you never want people to fully understand what it is you're going to be teaching. So because you called it, because the problem is, the biggest threat to learning is that people think they already know.
Yeah, that's right.
No, they don't,
shut it down.
but they think they do.
Right.
And so the button turns off in their head. So instead of saying, can you say what it's called again one more time? Stop
educating, start executing.
Okay. So we need to change that to a curiosity-based headline that sounds something like, the deceptiveness of information, or the myth of, the execution myth, or the hack, or the shortcut, or discover, or uncover, or unlock, right? The skeleton key to success, the myth of execution, something that is more curiosity based, because then they want it to know what you're going to teach, because they're like, what the heck is that? Right? The 3 phases to, whatever. Then you're going to have a more captive audience.
All right.
And people, we want to be in the know. We want to know that secret. So pull back the veil. So
we're hardwired to prioritize novelty.
Yes.
And so that means if we see something new, we notice it. And if we see something we think we already know, we don't notice it, even though it's right in front of our face.
Yes.
I'm going to write a book actually called Everything is Marketing. It's something I'm working on, because I believe, like, even as a father, like
I don't like that title though, Josh, because I feel like I already know what it's about.
But you're wondering, well, but you know why it's good?
Well, how about
because people will object to it.
Marketing?
No, but people will object to it. They're gonna go, no, it's not. And then they have to read the subtitle and read the back. They go, no, it's not. That's outrageous. And then I'm going to prove to them that they're wrong.
Right. That's good.
But when I'm mentoring my kids, it's a form of marketing. Nature does marketing. I saw a couple weeks ago that a weed is just a flower with no marketing budget, right? So like marketing, verbal, non-verbal signaling. If a guy who is really fit gets out of a Ferrari and he has his sunglasses and he looks like this, he's got an apple and a water bottle in his hand, there's so much being communicated right there. And we can't make definitive conclusions, but there's signals happening, right? When a business, there's nonverbal signals everywhere. Like how many rings did it take to answer your phone? What was your email signature like? What was the thickness of the literature you gave them the quote on, right? What did your technicians smell like, right? Some hotels have signature smells, right? Because we associate smell with grandma's cookies and different things. And so marketing is a really deep rabbit hole, and behavioral psychology plays into it too. But like, for example, just because this is really fun, did you know that wine tastes better when it's poured out of a heavier bottle? Okay. Did you know that German beer sales go up if they play German music inside the liquor store? In the background, right? But the question is why, and what does that have to do with my cleaning business? Well, it has everything to do with everybody's business, because these nonverbal signals matter. Like from your website to the way you position yourself, everything you can imagine. And that's how you can ultimately charge higher prices. You can retain talent better. Employee recruiting is marketing, but people forget that. My friend Michael Kaplan calls his employees his internal customers.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right?
getting to be a buzzword now.
Yeah, but it's a buzzword because of him. It took off because it blew everybody's mind 3 years ago when I interviewed him when he first said it.
Yeah.
But it's still true.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are customers. You have to find what fish they hang out in. What bait do you use to get them? You have to compete more. You have to spend more to get employees. The market's shifted. People want to do their laptop lifestyle and live in their tiny home, and they don't want to work. And like things are different. So you have to compete. Like I can teach you guys how to create a job ad that'll basically 10x your results if you want.
No, we wouldn't like that, Josh.
No?
Could you just like
Yeah, let's not do that. Come on, what are you?
Okay. All right. Well, it's hard because my
screen
being a little
get me out of here. That way we
take me out too. That way, see the whole
we'll have
screen.
a full screen. Let me see.
Well,
how do I take me out?
I've tested this with tons of different businesses, and it always has a positive improvement. Sometimes it has a 10x or more improvement. In fact, a lady in Florida just used it and got over 200 applicants after they changed their ad to the super simple structure. Okay. First thing you have to realize is you need a hook in your job ad. And so the subject line or the job description that goes in like your Indeed, what most people do is they put cleaning technician needed part-time or cleaning tech, right? Or pressure washing technician or whatever industry you're in. For the purposes of the example, I changed the headline to a better hook. Now, this takes some creative thinking and it's different for everybody, but what I changed.
I don't mean to interrupt. When I stop my camera, is your screen shown full or is it just showing me blank?
It's showing half, but that's enough. Oh, there it goes. There we go. Now it's full. Can you still hear me? Are you there? Oh no.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh no, they lost me. Left me on my own live stream.
Okay, we just can't hear us when we pull this out.
Got it. Okay.
We can hear you though.
Okay, perfect. I'll just keep going. Okay. All right. So you got to have a hook. And when you post your job ad, don't do like everybody else does. You want to always drink upstream from the herd, if you know what I mean, right? You don't drink downstream from the herd. Don't do what everybody else does because it doesn't work. They're just as frustrated as you are. So there's a pressure cleaning company and I changed their headline to gas powered squirt gun operators needed, right? Gun operators needed, right? And what do you think that did for clicks, right? Because it's a hook, just like an ad, because these are internal customers. We're still fishing. We got a hook. We got to stop them in their tracks. We got to stand out. So you need a title that is still like not totally fake. It's not clickbait, but it's better. It makes them chuckle, right? So this right here massively increased how many people saw their ad. And then after you do that, there's a couple important components. The first thing you need to know in any recruiting ad for it to work better is the only thing that should be at the top of your recruiting ad. The only thing I want to see is what I call a stack. And it's what's in it for them. Okay. And it should literally say at the very top, first sentence, when you work with, not for, us, you, all caps, get this. Like this. Okay. So this is called a stack. The very first sentence needs to say something like this. And then below that, you list every single thing that they get. Every perk, every benefit, every upside, every silver lining. When I say everything, I mean everything. If you don't want to put that they get Christmas off, because obviously they get Christmas off, we're still putting it on the stack. I want the stack to be huge. If they get an iPad, then they get company issued technology for free. If they get a desk, even if it's a freaking plastic folding table desk, then they get an executive desk. And we were going to make this as sexy as possible, right? Executive desk, right? You also don't put what the pay starts at in your job ad. Instead, you put up to, and you put the top amount that you would pay the biggest rock star possible, right? And then you put, and you get paid time off, and you get monthly bonuses, and then you get, annual bonuses, and then you get 7 holidays off, and then you get, mileage reimbursement, blah, blah, blah. And then you get leadership development program, which is the training program you probably already have, but now we're going to call it leadership development. And we go on, and I want a minimum of 10 things in this stack. And it needs to be at the top. This is what you get. So this is marketing 101, really, but people don't apply it to their employee recruiting. And I'm telling you, as simple as this is, these two things alone will fundamentally change the response rates that you get. And then, of course, at the bottom, you can put the requirements if you want to. I think that's a good idea. You put the requirements and list them out, but keep it short and sweet, and leave it at that. So you guys can come back on and tell me what you think about that if you want. Hopefully it's helpful.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Liz
Liz
is
is muted.
Oh, I'm muted. All right.
You're good.
So I'm going to give you the argument that people give to this, right? So the suggestion, here's the argument that they give. I can't do that because then when people come to work for me, they're going to say that it was false advertising because it said executive desk. They give me this crappy plastic desk thing, blah, blah, blah. So that's the big argument that people give me about this idea about just
for the sake of time and because I went really quickly, what I'm not implying is false advertising. What I'm implying, here's my moral of the story. You guys are giving way more than you're articulating. Your company's way better than you advertise it to be. And we forget because we're too close to it how epic it is, right? So it's not about making up fake stuff. It's about taking the stuff they already get that you're not mentioning, right? That you have, a insane company culture where it's like a family and it's treated blah, 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 but wording it in a more clever way and spending more time wordsmithing your entire post. The real principle here is to have a better hook and to have a stack of what they get at the top, because it has to be all about them. Now, does that mean we hire everybody? No, but we don't want to disqualify people before they inquire to learn more. We want people to get through the gate, and then we can filter them out, right? When you find a good one, then you try to talk them out of the job. Then you have to drop the bad news. Oh, perfect. You look like a good fit. Here's how it works. There's a 6-month ramp up period, and you're in probation for this month. And then you start here and you do this. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited. Did you want to start on Monday or Tuesday? And you tell them maybe the downsides, but people in their job ads are putting all the downside stuff before they put the upside stuff. And that has an adverse effect. And then the biggest argument of why this works is because it works, because I've tested it 100 times and it always works. People just don't have the courage to do it, or they want to overthink stuff.
Or they want to argue it. They want to argue.
If you literally today do what I said, you'll have more applicants tomorrow and the next day than you've had before if you do what I just said. Period. And if you don't, it's because your hook wasn't good enough, or it wasn't clever enough, or your stack was boring or something. But you don't have to be a chief rocket engineer to figure it out.
You have to be a little bit creative to come up with an interesting hook. That hook, like I would never have been able to think of gas-powered squirt gun operators needed.
I actually had heard someone else say that online somewhere, and I remembered it.
That's awesome.
But the idea is to be fun, have fun, make it about them, and things will go better for you. And to take action and iterate. A lot of people will sit and read 400 books on recruiting, and they're not even split testing ads or doing more. Like do more volume of the stuff, put it out there. A lot of people already have jobs too. Like you shouldn't be really even going for what you're really trying to get is you're getting the person that's at their current job, kind of like scrolling through Indeed on their lunch break. That's what most of these people come from. Because if you don't have a job in this market, it's because you don't want a job, right? So it's really more headhunting than anything else. And you got to think, what does my job offer that's better than a retail store's job offer? Right? Maybe we target those people, because it's not hard to argue that cleaning houses is infinitely better than folding t-shirts for minimum wage. Right. And so there's like this whole pool of people. Have recruiting cards made up. I don't know if you've already teach people to do that, but it's another practical tip for that.
Yeah. So I love this idea that you're teaching of, you need to hunt. You don't need to fish. Don't just sit and wait for the fish to hit your pole, right? You need to go out and get the game, right? Make it happen instead of sitting and waiting, spending more money and waiting some more.
Well, people just don't take enough. There's not enough energy behind what they do.
Mhm.
And have you ever noticed that? I don't know, like bad people seem to succeed, or like narcissists seem to do very well financially.
Yeah.
Sometimes the reason that is because when you believe in your brain that you are God's gift to the world, even though you're not and you're a psychopath. But if you believe it's true, you show up different and you
Mhm.
show up with more certainty. See, the other commonality among people that are crushing it in any business is that the leader of the business has an unusually high level of magnetism, charisma. And these are learnable skills. And they also have speed. So they're just taking action. They're not paralyzed with fear. They're taking action, and they've developed their communication, their imagination skills. They can cast vision a little bit better than other people. And what it does for you is insane. It's insane. You know what the reason it's hard to give recruiting tips is because what really needs to happen for me to give someone a prescription is I need to go to their state, read their ad, go through the whole job interview process, right? And am I meeting you at Starbucks to do this? Am I on Zoom, but there's like toys in the background? Like, what do you sound like when you say it? Are you casting a vision? Are you going to talk to the applicant the same way I would talk to the applicant? And if you think that you can improve that, then read books on that, and how to be persuasive and how to have energy and how to be magnetic. These are learnable. I'm an introvert. Like my dream life would be reading books in a cabin in Alaska. I'm not an extrovert, just because I talk a lot. You know, when we're done with this, I'm going to go like read a book and like sit in silence. Like that's what I do. But you need to show up with speed, imperfectness, totally acceptable. But you got to have speed. You got to have a lot of enthusiasm. And that goes a long way with recruiting too. If I needed to hire someone, I could hire someone by dinner tonight, by walking around and talking to people and be like, tell me about yourself. What's your dreams? How long have you worked here? Is this your final frontier? Like, what are you trying to do? Oh, you're going to college? That's amazing. What do you do? This job, this doesn't probably pay super well. You seem super smart. I like the way you talk. Oh, that's really cool. Are you open to different opportunities? Man, I have something I think may be like a godsend for you. It'd be open. I can explain it to you in 5 minutes. You can get it done. But if you just type out another ad that's like every ad and hope for the best and then complain on the internet about it, you're just kind of missing the point.
Absolutely. Imperfect execution. That's key right there. Now, with along with that ad that you just shared, I mean the idea of how you can make that better. I know Warplan Studios, you guys are big on videos, and video is one of those things that I think is so critical to have. How are you how's your company using that to help with recruiting right now?
Well, I'm not using videos to help with recruiting right now.
Okay.
But we've in Warplan Studios is kind of in beta launch. We just signed up our first like 25 people within the last 3 or 4 weeks. But what people don't know about me, if they have followed my career, is that I've made a lot of money from videos. Like people don't understand that, like there's certain videos. I don't know if Liz has even seen them, but like I wish I could pull up and show you examples, right? But I have a certain video I made for Send Jim where, you know, there's a guy in a gorilla costume and a guy with a unicorn head on. And that video is probably produced north of $3 million just as a video. It was like a $10,000 or $15,000 video to make that one video. It was worth every penny. Another video, I have other videos that have done 7 figures. Other ones have done 100, 200,000, 300,000 just from one video using in a launch. And so, but I haven't talked about that in the past because I'm not going to go online and be like, hey, look at how much money all my audience gave me because I made this cool video. But the truth is there's a lot that can be learned on the psychology of how I wrote the scripts for those videos and the psychological triggers and the progressive agreements and the future pacing and the seating and all these concepts that service companies don't talk about. That's why they work. There's a formula to it. And so in your local market, if you create a funny, very simple, like viral kind of, think of like the Squatty Potty video, but for cleaning houses in your local town, what would that do for your business? Like how big of a deal would it be if you had a cool video like that? Well, I personally believe that the services industry needs to like take this really serious from here on out because it's professionalizing like crazy. And so there's more people hitting 7 figures with home service businesses than ever before in history. Even 5 years ago, it was still like kind of rare to hear someone. People are doing it in like 18 months over and over and over. And there's 24-year-olds doing it and 21-year-olds doing it and 31-year-olds.
And not leveraging technology.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In the area that they're earning all the money in.
Right. So you got to understand, all of us need to really look at ourselves as a marketing company that just happens to clean houses, or a marketing company. People don't understand Red Bull is a marketing company. A third of their budget goes to marketing. They don't manufacture their own drink. It's all outsourced. The only thing they do is they are a gigantic marketing company. And it costs them 9 cents to make a Red Bull, by the way.
9 cents.
They're marketers. They spent $50 million just on that one stunt where the guy skydived from space, and it's estimated it did $6 billion in sales. Well, we can do miniature versions of that with our local businesses. I have one guy who's a roofer, and he's in a very conservative part of Ohio, all Trump country, right? So we made an edgy video for him to run online. He's holding a 50 caliber gun. He says the best way to protect your home is with the Second Amendment. Second best way to protect your home is with a roof from my roofing company, right?
I love it.
Those types of ads crush it, right? And so if you're in San Francisco, probably wouldn't crush it. But understanding your market, coming up with a clever script, we help people do that at our studio, and we make these simple videos.
I am so sad that our time is already up.
Wait, can't we just extend it?
I know, we can't. Okay, so Robin, though, we are going to real quick here. Robin wants to know, how does he find out more about the war marketing videos?
Okay, you can go to, this is actually super new, and we're only going to even sell 20 max more because we're still building all of our processes and systems. But I will tell you this, if you go to warplanstudios.com, you can watch a video I made that explains what the offer is, this initial offer. But 2 of the videos that we're going to do for these first customers is me and my business partner are going to personally write the scripts for 2 of the 6 videos that we're going to make for you. It's an $8,500 package. You come to Dallas, but there's a concierge. We help you with everything. It's insane. Like, I spend more than 10 grand on one of these videos. You're going to get a minimum of 6 of them. And so you can do that. We have, like I said, 20 something people coming already. And I've only talked about it one time on Kirk Kempton's Facebook. And that's kind of been it. But you go to warplanstudios.com, you can read about it if you hold a deposit. The other thing you can do is, if you don't have 8,500, but you know that your business needs top shelf videos, that it's an asset, that's why it's called marketing collateral, because it's an asset. It's you can make money with it for years. Then send me an email, and we can do a $2,500 non-refundable deposit. If you don't want to come down to the fall to shoot, that's totally okay. But we're looking for our first 40 businesses. That's not what I thought we were going to talk about on here, but that's totally okay. But warplanstudios.com, or send me an email. I'll put my email here, Liz.
Okay.
And you can, I spelled it wrong, of course. Josh at honorandfire.com. Josh at honorandfire.com.
Where are you putting it?
It's in the private chat.
I can't see it.
But that's if you need to do a deposit. I can send you.
You can see it, right? You can post it for us. You can.
Me? I can see it, but I can't post it.
Victoria.
Oh. I also put the link in there for the Polgar experiment as well, Victoria, if you want to post that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's.
All right. Well, you know what? I knew this was going to be great, but I really did not realize it was going to be this great, to tell you the truth, Josh. I really appreciate you coming out here today. I'm sorry, I'm trying hard not to choke right now. Thank you so much. Do you have one last thing that you want to drop on us? You have dropped so many.
I just want to tell people that you're meant for way more than you think. You're valuable, you're irreplaceable, you're indistinguishable. You are one of a kind, and to think bigger and to move faster and to have courage, because the people ahead of you aren't smarter than you. And there are a lot of people that already have what you want that are dumber than you. So you don't need a Harvard MBA. I didn't go to college. I read books, I think, and I take risks. And I've done some scary things. And I encourage you to do the same thing. And thank you both for having me on.
Awesome. Thank
you very much. It was great meeting you virtually.
Yes, pleasure.
All right, y'all. See you next Wednesday.
Take care, everyone.
Take care.